Right now, millions of people are screaming at their televisions, painting their faces in tribal colors, and suffering a complete emotional breakdown just because 11 strangers lost a game involving a ball. But then there's you. You are part of that massive, silent group who genuinely, deeply, and unapologetically does not care. And before you let anyone tell you that you're boring or no fun, you need to know that neuroscience has your back. It turns out, your brain might actually be wired completely differently than the sports-obsessed people in your life. And what's happening inside your head is actually a superpower, not a bug. Let's be real for a second. Have you ever looked at a sports fanatic and just wondered, why? Here is the science behind the madness. Humans are tribal creatures, and for thousands of years, sticking with your tribe meant you didn't get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Today, sports are basically just ancient tribes, but with much more expensive merchandise. When a fan watches their team, their brain is flooded with oxytocin, the bonding hormone, effectively tricking them into thinking that a millionaire athlete they have never met is their literal family member. But your brain? It resists this trick. Psychologists found that people who don't care about sports have lower tribal instincts, which sounds bad, but it actually means you are more individualistic. You don't need to paint your face blue to feel like a complete human being, and studies show you are way less likely to have that us versus them mentality that makes people hate others just for wearing the wrong jersey. I'm curious though, does watching sports make you feel stressed or just bored? Let me know in the comments, because the chemistry gets even crazier. We have to talk about the addiction factor, because sports fandom operates on the exact same neurological mechanism as a slot machine. It is called intermittent reinforcement. Since fans never know if their team will win, the uncertainty floods their brain with dopamine, creating a literal chemical addiction to the drama. But your brain? It is practically immune to this vicarious competition. Research from the University of Chicago suggests this indifference might actually be in your DNA, meaning your lack of interest in the Super Bowl isn't a choice, it is a genetic trait. While they are riding a dopamine roller coaster dependent on things they can't control, you are chemically stable. Have you ever noticed how fans scream, "We won," when the team wins, but they lost when the team fails? That is a psychological trick to protect their ego, but you don't need that. Your self-esteem is likely more stable because it isn't tied to the athletic performance of people you don't know. Now, don't let anyone tell you that you lack empathy just because you don't cry when a quarterback gets sacked. You just allocate your empathy differently. While fans pour their emotional energy into a game, studies show that non-sports people score way higher in openness to experience. You are getting your emotional highs from art, music, complex ideas, or actual relationships where the other person knows you exist. You aren't devoid of passion. You just prefer to be a participant in your own life rather than a spectator in someone else's. This is actually a massive advantage because instead of spending 3 hours every Sunday stressing over a game, you are present in your own reality, building your own narrative. So, if you are tired of pretending to care about the score, don't worry. You aren't broken, you are just playing a different game, one where you are the main character. If you want to understand more about how your brain unlocks hidden advantages that most people ignore, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss our deep dive into the psychology of quiet intelligence next week.